Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Inner Blueprint, the podcast for the home improvement space and anybody and everybody that's looking to improve their mindset and think some better thoughts to get some better results. I'm your host, Sean Foyer.
And your co-host, Caitlin Foyer.
My beautiful co-host. You know, we probably are both co-hosts, or maybe we're just hosts. I don't know, but we fly this airplane together. So welcome to today's episode. And I'm so excited. I think we are going to talk about airplanes today. So some pilot might be mentioned, but for those of you that don't know, I have a background in owning a home improvement company. I was business partners with my father for a long time. During that time, I used best practices. I was a longtime member of the Certified Contractors Network. When I, under challenging circumstances, left the family business, I actually went to work for CCN, and I became one of their top business coaches, one of their best sales trainers, and I actually heard just recently they're still talking about some of the impact I had on teaching salespeople and impacting business owners. And the only reason I bring this up is I'm really excited. Both Kayla and I are really excited. Today's guest, we actually, we're really good friends. He's a client. His beautiful wife is a friend and client of ours. And we met at an interesting time because I was making the transition from being a contractor to being a business coach when I first met this gentleman. And when he started working with me, we did use the behavioral profiles, which we actually dropped an episode recently on, and we can talk a little bit about that. But I didn't have the mindset tools. And so we started a little bit on business process. And today you're in for a treat, you guys. You're going to hear how a powerful business owner and his beautiful wife have used the power of good process in their business and in their personal life, combined with high-level mindset. And he literally walked with me on the journey of, hey, bud, I got some crazy mindset stuff I'm going to add to the program. And he said yes to everything so far, and just super excited. Caitlin, do you want to add anything before we actually bring our guest on?
I'm just really excited about this guest. Lots of energy. You're going to be so excited when you hear everything he says. I love him. I love his wife. I love their family. They are just good people. And they don't make them like this person anymore.
No, he's definitely a one of a kind. You know, he grew up in the Saginaw, Michigan area in his father's roofing business. He took it over quite a few years ago, and I know he's made his father proud. Like, to see what this gentleman has done with a roofing business that is now a purpose business. The purpose is helping people, not only the clients they serve, but every team member. And I love when I have conversations. He's like, my job is to bring the love, man. I'm adding purpose and love to this company. And as we add purpose and love to our employees, we add purpose, love into our community. And the beautiful thing about this, as we serve in that way, we get to enjoy the ride with more abundance, more freedom.
Yep.
Let's just welcome him on right now. My good friend, our good friend, and the owner of Herbert Roofing, Jason Herbert. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, how are you?
Jason.
It just got better, man. It just got better. You're here.
It always seems to. That's for sure. I am so excited to be here with you guys today, and just honored to get to share some space, share some time with you guys. It's always a blessing. That's for sure.
Good.
Yeah, I agree. And we've hung out a lot professionally and a lot personally, and I can't get enough of any of that.
Agreed.
No, it's always like more than what we expect. You know, we try to at least once a year get together with our families. You know, our kids love your kids, and you know, just the time that we get to spend together. You know, I ended up getting a sauna out of this one, so that was cool. Got to experience your morning routine and just needing to get into a better morning routine. And so my wife bought me a sauna after leaving your place. It was absolutely it's amazing every single time.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'll say this: after the time we came out to see you, over a year ago, we got a boat right after.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we came and hung out on your boat, and we're like, oh, we need a boat. So we came home and
got a
again,
boat.
manifesting. Oh, well,
Yeah, and we gotta be careful
Yeah.
about
I wonder
manifesting
what
because I
next time
can
will be.
manifest. I can manifest a lot of things.
well, Jason, you've talked about that with me, that you have to be careful what you think about, because if you decide you want something, you have a natural ability to go get it or to create it, right?
I do, and we've talked about that in the past, like how I really have to be careful about like what it is that I set my mind to,
Yes.
because I seem to go full force at it, and whether it's, some call it, would say it's healthy, some say that it's not healthy, but I try to be healthy about it, and just the stuff that we're going for is all stuff that makes my life better, my family's life better, the people that I am like so blessed every single day to get to work with, their lives better. So it's I really got to be careful at what I set my mind to, because I tend to go pretty hard at it.
I love this, and it's like the perfect example. When we came to visit you last year, you were talking about getting a new truck. And it was like just like a thought. And then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go look at it. And then you came home with a brand new truck that same day. And I just love watching you in action, because I'm very much that way too. That you're such a mirror to me. And I'm like, where am I holding myself back? Where am I playing small? Because I know when I have an idea, I can make it happen almost instantaneously, just like you. And so you're such an inspiration to me, because anything you want, you get.
Well, and like Sean talked a little bit in the intro about like our journey together, and my journey from, originally just like, hey, listen, I'm looking for a business coach, all the way, through to like, he literally said, hey man, I kind of got this mindset stuff. What do you think? And I'm like, well, sure, I've got nothing else going on. We'll check this out. And so people say to me like, how long have you been working with Sean, in the mindset? I'm like, I don't know, how long has he been doing it? Like literally since day one. But like, it just the evolution of where I was at, and the challenging times that I had gone through, and at that point in my life when we first got together, to where I am now, to where it's just like so much abundance, and like the business that Hale and I have built, and these awesome people that we get to work with every single day, that have helped us along the journey. And I hope that I've given into them as much as, even close to what they've given to me and my family. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll never forget, because I'd made the decision, after I left CCN, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I decided I wanted to still be a coach and a consultant. And I didn't know exactly what to teach, but I threw it out there. And a mutual friend of ours in the industry, you'd been to one of his events. And I'll never forget, he called me and he said, Sean, are you going to coach people? And I said, yes. And as I said yes, I'm like, I don't know on what, but I'm going to coach them. And again, in mindset, we talk about, forget about the how, decide what you want. And I decided I wanted to help people with my knowledge. And I'll never forget, he gave me your information. And if you remember, I offered you not just one, but 2 free behavioral profiles for you and your wife. And I remember getting them back. And we just recorded an episode. Jason and his beautiful wife, Hayla, they're DIs. They're both high DIs. And I remember thinking, holy shit, this is my first business couple that I get to coach. And they're both rock stars, like assertive, direct, big energy. And then my second thought was, how do they not kill each other? Because this is a power couple if we've ever talked about one.
Right?
But yeah, we started. I said, let's look at your numbers. Do you remember? That's where we really started. Is let's get your business numbers dialed in. And every week for a couple years, one of the topics was, let's look at your P&L. Let's look at your gross profit. Let's look at your net profit. And Jason, maybe speak on that, because that part of our working together has been very impactful. To this day, you know your numbers better than almost any owner I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. and knowing my numbers have been huge. If there's, people ask, will say to me, hey, well, what sales process are you using, or how do you do this in your business, or how do you do that in your business? And I'm like, I don't know, because like my team members, they do such a great job of taking that stuff from me that like I can focus, like I focus on our numbers and how are we not only growing as a company, but growing profitably and growing healthy. My former business partner Jake used to say, like, if we're going to go to the poorhouse, we're going to go rested. Like we're not here to not make any money. We're going to be profitable. And when we first got together, like I thought we were okay from what I knew. My what at this point now I know is my ignorance. But I'll tell you, we've got to a point now where we've not only raised our top line revenue, which is kind of important, but our bottom line revenue is huge. Just even year after year, we were just looking at our the third quarter had just ended, and we were looking at our numbers. And this year to date, period over period, we were 14% higher top line revenue.
Wow.
Okay, that's good. That's good growth. Top line, but our gross revenue 50 or I'm sorry 25%.
Just insane.
Growth and our bottom line revenue 53% period over period.
So the net
Just
profit,
huge,
what you take home as profit, is the biggest growth number.
is the biggest growth number. It's because of the hard work of our team, because of the really diving in and the knowing our numbers. And even today, we still talk mindset, but at least once a month, it's about where we stand and how are we doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the top line number, it's about the bottom line number. And that was a huge mindset shift. Everybody wants to say, I've got a $10 million company, I've got a $20 million, $30 million company. Well, Jake would always used to say too, sometimes nothing's still nothing. Doesn't matter if you're doing 10, 20, 30 million if you're not making any money.
Yeah.
So thankfully, because of the work that we did early on in our relationship, it's kind of just transpired to not only the top line growing, but the bottom line growing also.
Yeah. Well, and as we shifted from the business stuff that we were talking about to the mindset, you were already a pretty good manifester and you already had pretty good mindset. Do you want to share, like, what are some of the couple learnings or ahas you've had in the last couple of years as you've raised and grown awareness of your mindset and then continue to improve on it?
Um, Dreaming for me has always been just normal. I've noticed that there's a lot of people like my wife, Hayla, when we first got together because of, everybody has different traumas in their life that they go through. And because of some of the things that Hayla went through, it wasn't as easy for her to dream. Um, that's probably was my biggest aha just is like, man, we've really had to be on the same page to dream to where we're at now. And there's people that we talk to that are like, "How do you dream?" And I'm like, "Man, that's crazy." Like, there's a lot of people that just don't know how to dream. Dreaming's so easy, and that's the one thing that I have to kind of keep myself in check on
Because you're a
is
good
is is
dreamer.
my dreaming. I
Yeah.
I am. I am. And but also the importance of making sure that you're surrounded by people,
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
people. And I'm so fortunate that, when my business partner died in 2017, and I've got a guy who is now my integrator, Brad, that just like from that day stepped up and was just like,
What do you
"Hey,
need? What do you need?
what do you
What do you
need?
need? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you need? Not how much are you gonna pay me? Not, I'll do this if you give me that. No, it was just what do you need? Like unconditional, and has been by my side, since that day. And even, we're growing together. He's growing, I'm growing. We've got an awesome team that is really leading from their heart,
Uh,
Well, and
and
that's like the
that's
perfect mirror
been
of you, though,
huge.
Jason. That's a mirror of you. I mean, what do you need? Willing to do things for people without wondering what's in return. I mean, I remember watching you, Hayla, and Brad walk into Sean's dad's funeral. You flew across the country to come to a funeral. Like, that's who you are. You show up. And I always feel safe around you. I mean, we've been to concerts where we've run into people I didn't want to see, and I'm like, doesn't matter, I'm with Jason.
Yeah, come on over here, bitch. We got Jason
good.
with us.
We're good.
Yeah.
But you're that person that
We're
just,
good.
what do you need, right? Like, you just show up, and the trickle that has given to your company is apparent. It's really beautiful.
Well, and Jason, one of my favorite things is when I started my consulting business, again, I didn't know what I was going to teach or how I was going to teach. But with my logo, I knew what I wanted to create. The shield is for protection, security. The 8 billets are for abundance. And the infinity sign is for long-standing relationships. And we are business partners in a sense on your business. But you showed up in my personal life. You gave the toast at my wedding.
Yes.
I mean, it's just really cool that I had an idea to build this organization that helped people in business and in personal life. And in return, it's helped me because you're one of my best friends, man. And I know,
Yep.
you know, the 4 of us with Hayla, we love spending time with you. And you have shown up for us. You know, you talked about the sauna. You came and sat in my sauna that you participated with a group of 7 other guys to gift us. So you gifted me a sauna, then you came and spent time in it, and then you went home and your wife bought you your own. It's just so the circle and the infinity sign is like, let's just go, man. Let's just keep growing.
No, and I was fortunate to and blessed to be born to like of such a supportive family. You know, my mom and dad are great. My dad started this company back in 1973, you know, and
When you were born.
they're
That's the year I was
just
born.
absolutely yeah, absolutely amazing people. And I mean, that is where the leading from your heart came from. I mean, my dad was the definition of leading from your heart. You know, if my dad needed anything, it didn't matter when, people were there for him because they knew that in the end that he loved them. And you know, we just talked about it this morning. I talked about it with our team of, you know, 35 people that were at our state of the company this morning, and I had a new guy come up and introduce himself to me, and he's like, "Hey, I figured I'd come meet you because he'd only been with us a couple of weeks. I hadn't got a chance to meet him, and now it's like so awesome, you know, to get to meet him." And he says, "You know, it's I'm gonna do great for you." I was like, "Ah, man, you don't understand. Like, we're gonna do great together. Like, this is awesome. Like the fact that you're here, we're here together." I said, "Dude, I just appreciate everything that you're doing. I appreciate the fact that you're here." And he was like, just kind of looked at me weird. And I was like, "Dude, my job is to love you, man. I'm not here to hold you accountable. There's other people that get to hold you accountable." I said, "When you see me walk down the hallway, it's just to come here and love you. That's what I'm here to do. That's my job. And like, that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at holding people accountable. You know, there's other people that are much better than that, than I am. Like, I literally just want to love the people that we work with every day. And that comes from my dad. You know, that's
Yeah.
who he is. That's how we are. And the same thing with our friends. Like for me, you've mentioned that often about me coming across the country. Like to me, that's what you do. You know, like my friend, he was in need, and even though we hadn't worked together that long at that time, but like it was such a big point in your life that like the support for me and Hayla and Brad to give you to fly across the country, that's
Wow.
that's just who
One,
we are. That's our core.
and listeners, it was a surprise. I didn't know they were coming. And you want to talk about being in the service for your father and mourning and grieving and looking around and all of a sudden seeing these 3 bright lights walk into the room. I mean, I was sad. I started crying tears of joy.
Yeah.
It really shifted my energy and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, 2 things. One, the impact I'm having is big enough that these 3 dropped everything and came across the country to be here with us. Really cool, man.
Just
Yeah.
like I said, it's who we are. It's what we do. You know, it's important to be there unconditionally in people's time of need. You know, and that was a pretty big deal. You know,
Yeah.
good times and bad times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back, both of our business journeys together have been pretty amazing. We've both seen a lot of growth, top line, bottom line. But what about our personal lives? Because you and I share someone else in common. We both have been divorced. And I don't say I'm divorced. I went through divorce quite a few years ago. But in that process, and for you as well, we both have our biological children from our first marriages, and we both have beautiful new wives and beautiful bonus daughters or bonus children.
Children, yeah.
There's some challenges for both of us in that, right? Like, you want to talk about that
Yeah,
a minute?
it's amazing. It is. It's amazing how our lives kind of mirror each other. You know, I I went through my divorce in, oh, probably about 10 years now. And it was tough. It was rough, you know what I mean? And um my ex-wife and I completely parent differently than we ever have, than anybody else. So it was hard, going through that. And the fact that, we're not on the same page, and then I meet this amazing woman who like absolutely completes me, and she comes with these three amazing kids who are my kids. Those are my kids, you
Same,
know
yeah.
and she it was a struggle. It's a struggle trying to you know balance your kids and these other people that are coming into their lives also.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge struggle for me, and no different than your situation that you went through too. It's really hard to let your kids know that how much you love them, and still you're sharing this time with other people. But that was a huge time in my life, that I had to shift the way that I was thinking. I couldn't be everything to everyone. I had to be what was to be the best part of me. And if they kind of chose to be a part of it, then they could, and if not, it was what was best for me.
Yeah. And that's such a hard thing to dive in. And on mindset, whether you're married or you're divorced, your children pick up programming and paradigms from both parents. And when you're together, those usually work together. But
Sometimes.
when you decide a marriage isn't working and you separate and eventually divorce, you've now got two people that don't agree, that maybe don't like each other, programming the children. And for both of us, that's resulted in us having challenging relationships with our children, right? Because they have somebody else
It
in their ear that doesn't like either one of us. And
That
no,
they
then
see you through
and
that
that's
filter.
that was
yeah,
Yeah, and that was it. And that was the hardest thing for me, is like the picture that was painted was not the person that I was. And like, I've trust me, I've made my mistakes. One thing I've always been good at is owning them.
you
You know,
are. Yes,
I'll
absolutely.
own I'll I'll own my mistakes. I try to walk the walk, so to speak. You know what I mean? And it's really hard because it became a point in my life to where my boys were toxic in my marriage, in Hale and I's marriage. And it took me a while to understand that, because man, the hardest thing you can ever do is push away these people that are you. I
Part
mean,
of
these are
you.
my
Yeah, part of
boys.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I love them to the moon and back. And I had to love them enough to know that our relationship at that point was too toxic. And I had to I had to just push them away for a while, and we still don't have the relationship that I would like, but it's got to be right. I've done a lot of work on my mindset to know that I cannot control who it is that they become. I can't control the things that they do. I can't control them, you know,
Yeah.
and I just had to focus on the things that I could control, which is how I react to situations, you know, how the words that I say, and at that point, if they choose that they want to be a part of my life, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
ready for them every single day, but it just really has to be healthy.
Well, yeah. And you haven't really had conversations, time, even a relationship with your three boys in a couple years,
Now it's going on 4 years now.
4 years.
It's
Yeah.
been going on 4 years,
Wild.
and it sucks. It's really hard. I see them. The worst thing, in my opinion, that you can have to do in your life is grieve somebody that's alive.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's hard grieving somebody that is past. That's hard.
Yep.
But that person is past. There's nothing that you can do about them. But go ahead and have to grieve somebody that's alive.
and especially somebody that's part
And
of you. Your three sons are dead to you right
that's it.
now, and you love them unconditionally.
I miss them every single day. I think about them every single day. I want to have a healthy relationship with them. The key
Yeah.
word is it has got to be healthy, not only for me, but healthy for them because they deserve that too.
Yeah.
And if it can't be healthy, I don't need them. They don't have to, they shouldn't have to deal with that, but I believe that there'll be a day, it'll come back around and we'll be back in each other's lives again. It just has to happen on its own time,
Yeah. Well, and
you
Jason,
know.
were you a good dad 4 years ago when they left?
At that time, the dad, I thought I was a good dad.
Okay. You were a good
I
dad.
You were a
Yes.
good dad.
Are you a better
Yep,
dad
I
today?
thought that I was a good dad. I'm a great dad today.
Yes.
I'm a great dad today. And the reason I say that like I thought I was a good dad is because like I made my mistakes. It just goes back to owning it.
Mm.
I know the mistakes that I've made. I would love to sit down with them and just say, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this, and just like I can own my shit.
Yeah.
It's okay because you can't grow until you do,
Yep.
Well, and that's
but the
that's what I love
person I
most
am
about
today
you,
is not the person
Jason,
I was then.
is you're so brutally honest with others and with yourself.
Yep.
And when we talk about in mindset, 4 years ago, you did the best you could with the programming paradigms, the mindset you had at the time. And I think you were a pretty good dad then. But fast forward 4 years, you've held in your mind how much you love your kids, your boys,
Mhm.
and all your kids, but your boys specifically. And you've worked every day to be a better dad. So when they do come back, they get to experience what I get to experience every time I meet with you. And that's a loving,
Yeah.
compassionate, powerful human being.
Yeah. When we get back together again, because like I said, it'll come. It'll happen. When they do, the man that they're going to see is not the person that they knew. I've come so far in these last 4 years, with my mindset, who I am as a dad, who I am as a leader, who I am as a husband, who I am as a friend.
Yeah.
I've come so far that they won't know the person that they're going to see.
Well, and it's interesting too, because that's going to require some patience on your part. It's like they got to reintroduce themselves to you when they're ready. You know, I,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and we've talked about, the challenges with my four adult children, and I do have communication with them, and they think we have a really good relationship. I know we can have better, but I also know they don't know who I am. At some level, the version of me today, I was a good dad a decade ago. I was a good dad 5 years ago. I didn't always see that, and I see it better today. And I still look forward to really reintroducing myself to my kids, but they have to be ready for it.
100%.
And if they're not, just like you, I'm going to meet them where they are. If you want nothing to do with me, I love you. If you want to see me once in a while,
Yeah.
I love you. If you want to see me once a week, I still love you. And I think we both talked about that's our approach is We're kind of like the ocean, big and blue, full of love. And when you're ready to come to me, I'm here for you.
And in the end, it's all comes back to me on, like, I'm going to focus on the things that I can change. I can't change the way that they think, especially without them in my life.
Yeah.
I don't have that effect on them, so I love you where you're at, you know, and hopefully someday I'll get a chance to love them together again.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
And we have a
It'll
saying,
happen.
God's timing is perfect, sometimes early, never late. And I can't wait for the day.
Yep. Yep. It'll come, and it'll be right when it is,
Yeah.
because I've made those changes, and I respect myself enough to make sure that it is right. And I respect my wife and my, my other kids enough to make sure that it's right.
Yeah, because you got to bring the best version of you to your bonus kids too, and they're not your bonus kids now; they're your kids, but they deserve the
They're my
best version.
kids.
Yeah, and I have the same thing with my bonus
Hmm.
daughters. I get in my head about my adult children, and then I sometimes bring that into my bonus daughters, and I can't do that. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me.
Nope.
Yeah. So, Jason, for listeners, you've heard so far a story of a successful business person who's had some personal challenges, some personal heartache, and he's really masterfully kept focus on his business while focusing on what he can control, which is him. I've seen in our industry, there is lots of divorce.
Yeah.
There's lots of challenge with kids. There's lots of challenging things, and some business owners let the personal challenges affect the business. You have not done that. Do you want to just talk about and maybe share, like, how were you so powerfully present in your business and still juggling the challenges of life?
A lot of that for me is my team. They've really taken over and just did they do their job. They know what they're supposed to do. Everybody stays in their own lane, and we really pick each other up and support each other. But it really had to start with me first. I mean, that's where we are today. If people have challenges, people have, issues going on in their personal life, we really pick each other up and support them. But it had to start with me, with the time that I put into myself, and how I was going to show up as a leader, because as I go, that's how the team's going to go.
Yeah.
So I had to have the love for myself first, even with all this stuff going on, and that comes with pushing my boys away, having the respect for myself to know that this is toxic. This is not only toxic for me, but toxic for them, and pushing themselves away, walking that walk. And then to be able to my team picked me up for a little while there.
Yeah.
Brad picked me up for a while, and Hayla picked me up. My wife picked me up for a while, but at that point I was able to do the work on myself and make sure that I was ready to be the leader that they needed in order to catapult this company to the next, the next level that we're going.
And I think in mindset, sometimes choosing yourself is viewed by the world as selfish,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you've chosen yourself first, and you've got people that have showed up to support that. Like Kayla loves when Jason's authentically Jason.
Yes.
Brad, the Herbert team, they love seeing you in your power. And as you choose you, you actually get more support, right, Kay?
Yeah, 100%. And one of my favorite things about Jason, too, is he's such a great example of living that nothing's ever happening to me. It's always happening for me. And I think it's so powerful. I know this goes back to, a traumatic event in your life with your business partner, where you just started to have this mindset of like, things aren't happening to me. They're happening for me, regardless of how shitty they really are.
No, and that was uh that was a huge turning point in my life. You know what I mean? To look at Jake's death and say, why did this happen? And Jake was here, and we were put together. My dad put us together as business partners for a reason. And Jake was the strength to my weaknesses, and I was the strength to his weaknesses. But his death was a time that really just let me shine and say, okay, I'm ready for this, because when my dad was ready to sell the business, I wasn't ready to buy it at that point, not by myself.
Yeah.
So Jake was there to fill a huge void. And when he passed away, it was a time for me that, okay, I'm not a victim, I'm a victor.
Yes.
I'm not a victim of this circumstance. This is my time, and time to make, I always say I'm going to make him proud.
Mm.
Time to make him proud, and be the victor that I am.
You know what? One thing, Jason, I think with generational businesses, sometimes people look at a son and say, "Look what this kid was handed." I know it happened in my business. People saw me take over my dad's business, and I heard all the time, "Oh, he just had it handed to him."
Golden spoon.
Yeah, Jason,
Mhm.
how many times have you bought your business?
I've bought my business a few times.
you
I
you bought it once with
I
Jake from your
bought it.
dad.
Yeah, yeah, bought it from my dad. I bought it from Jake's widow, and when he passed away, I bought it from my ex-wife. I've bought it a few times. And but it's every time it's always gotten better. And I would do it all over again. It's for the experiences that I've had. Even you know having the best money I ever spent, I think, was probably buying it from Jake's wife, because this was what he helped build. So I was
That felt good.
happy to
Yeah.
when that at that when we had to come to that point. It's like, here, this is what he helped build.
Yeah.
All right.
So the
Let's.
the one that was tough was my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be the
we
hardest
both
one.
been through that. That's really hard. I
Yeah.
understand that challenge. um, all right. Let's finish with wins. So you've bought your business 3 times. So if you're listening to this, don't give up. Like, if life throws you a challenge, it's happening for you, not to you. But now, Jason, you've shifted to buying businesses that aren't your own to
Yep.
add to yours. Talk on that for a minute,
Yep.
because you've got the second location. You bought what, close to 2 years now?
We Yeah, but it's been 2 years since we went through our acquisition of the first company. We're looking, hopefully by the end of this year, to go through another acquisition. Um, we we have 4 different locations now. Two in our area here in Saginaw, Michigan, and then about an hour and a half in the northwest Michigan. We have 2 locations up there now. Went through the one acquisition, and just kind of broke that off into 2 different offices to cover the entire region up there. But it's been great. The acquisitions have then turned into other things. Like, now we're 2.5 hours away. I also own a flight school, so now we're needing to looking to buy an airplane. Hopefully my CPA doesn't listen to this, but I'd love to. I'm looking at an airplane to be able to get our team up there, and really the airplane is a time machine. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive up there. So my team is literally spending 5 hours over 2 days. Usually they'll go up, they'll stay the night, and they'll come back the next day. It's still 5 hours on the road.
Yeah.
If I can buy their time, and not only buy back their travel time, but the time they get to spend with their family, is huge. And the acquisition of that, and the flight school, they pay for that.
Well, and it's interesting too. So Jason's decided to grow his business by acquisition, and we can talk maybe more about that on another episode or something. But as he bought a location, he was thinking he wanted to be a pilot, and he wanted an airplane, and he found a business purpose for it. And he bought a flight school. And didn't you just take your first solo flight, Mr. Pilot?
I did. Just took my first solo flight. Had a couple year battle with the FAA to get through a what I would consider pretty small medical issue, but it's our federal government. Nothing goes quick there. But finally got through that and took my first solo flight. So um excited to wrap that up by the end of the year. My flight training, and my private pilot flight training is one of those things that you never quit learning. You're
Yeah.
never you're never ready to say that I know it all about aviation. So I'm excited to continue that journey in aviation and be able to, be free to travel around the country, do what we want, when we want, with who we
That's
want.
an affirmation he says
That's
every day.
every day. I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, and my wife and I, that's kind of how we live our lives. We are absolutely blessed.
When you guys listeners, Jason's done a really good job in his business. He's got a good profitable model, and now he's buying other businesses to apply the same model to. His flight school, he decided he wanted to airplane, become a pilot. It all stacks together with what he really wants. And he's got a big goal, and all these little moves are happening easier with the focus on the big goal, right?
That it is the big goal is to be freedom.
Mm.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you? And for every person, that's different. Even for Hale and I, as much as we're on the same page, freedom to me is different than freedom to her. And we're literally digging the hole today for the basement of our brand new house.
Oh,
You know,
what?
it's yeah, it's amazing. I've bought many properties being a landlord, but I've never built my own house. So this is something over the next year that's going to be a new experience for the two of us, and we're absolutely jacked about it. Just so excited
Well, it,
to get to do this.
and it's so funny because Jason's talked about what a dreamer he is, and he could dream the business, and he could dream the airplanes. You struggled on the house a little bit. I mean, I've had lots of conversations like, dude, you deserve more. You deserve this big house for your
Yeah.
kids, for when your sons come back around, for when families want to get together. And I love seeing you step into it. It's
Agreed.
so amazing.
That was probably my biggest paradigm that I had, is because growing up, we had everything that we wanted, that we could have wanted. We lived in a trailer park though,
Yeah.
in a very nice trailer in the trailer park. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice place, but my parents still live there. I was always told, growing up that, a house is just somewhere you lay your head at night. And my parents, they have their place here in Saginaw. We have a place up on a beautiful lake north of us, about an hour and a half. They have their house in Florida, but to them, it's just a place that you lay your head. And so I had a huge paradigm over this big house that we were building. That was my wife's dream. And if anybody deserves it, she deserves it.
Yes.
This house, and so it was a huge shift for us. That's for sure. For me, a huge mindset change to say, you know what, we do deserve this. You know what, I deserve it. My wife deserves it. My kids deserve it. We deserve it.
Well, when you're an abundant thinker, but on the house, you got into a little bit of scarcity. I'm in a comfortable house. I don't even have much of a mortgage. I'm going to build this big house, probably bigger mortgage. But have you noticed? Because I'm seeing as you're digging a hole moving forward, your income's going up all around you. You're having more opportunities to support. This is how manifesting works, right? We take a jump, step into our abundance, and it starts to show up everywhere around us.
Yeah.
I love watching you do
Me
this.
too. Like all of these like wins
Yeah.
you've had financially since you made this big leap for you, right? Of building this huge dream house. And so I love because I witness that in our lives every single day. And I love when I get to see it in other people's. And I'm like, I don't know if Jason realizes like
What he's-
how
what
much
he's
wins
walking
are.
into,
Yeah, what
yeah.
he's doing, what he's unlocked.
Watch out, world.
No, and I can't wait, because you're absolutely right. And sometimes it takes other people recognizing it for you to be like, you know what? Yeah, there's something there, and everything, ever since we made that decision, and about 8 months ago, we made the decision that, yep, okay, we're going to do this. And ever since then, you always told me that, listen, once you get it, it just becomes what you do, the payment, the everything. Because I'm in a very comfortable house right now.
Yeah.
That is a very nice house that I could stay in my whole life. You know, but Haley's the one that really pushed me to say, you know what, no, we deserve better.
Yep.
Yeah.
We deserve better. And you kind of helped me out with the mindset side of things to say, you know what? it's going to be there, and it is. It's there.
Wh-
It's always been there. It's like where's my money?
Wherever it
Wherever it
is right
is,
now. Yeah.
wherever it is right now.
When you've experienced with me, when I was literally coaching out of my little sister's basement, and when I was surrounded by that, I did as good as I could. But you've been to our new house and you've spent time there, and you see how the abundance translates through me and Caitlin in our business, right?
Absolutely, and it's amazing just sitting in your house and looking around and going, yeah, this is great. Like this is a home.
Yeah.
Your house is a home. The girls are so happy there. The lifestyle that you've built, or the home that you have, you know just you can tell how
Well,
happy you guys are, that like this is yours.
and my favorite is, and you're going to have this same experience, people want to come stay with us. We've got Brett and Julie from Celertis. They're coming in November. Brett's like, I got to come spend a weekend with you. Julie deserves some time with you guys, and she doesn't work with you guys, so we're going to come hang out for a weekend. And Friday night, Matt Blanchard and his beautiful wife, Natalie, pulled up
at
to
the
our house.
Yeah.
We're here for the weekend. They were here all weekend, and we got the sauna, the cold plunge. We did a sound bath with the sound bowls the other night.
Yep.
Sat in the movie room and just hung out, listened to music, and communicated with amazing, beautiful, inspiring people. So I can't wait to come do that at your house, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, our house is going to be big enough that I'm, I told Haley the other day, like I just spring things on her every now and again and just give it time to just soak in. But I told her, I said, I want to have our Solaritus retreat there. Our house has
Oh,
7 bedrooms, 7 baths. We have our motor coach that is going to be
yes.
in
Done.
the garage
Done.
that's attached.
Yes.
We have plenty of space for plenty of people that, yeah, we're going to get to share it and just invite more people into our lives. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and right now, too, I hope you're okay. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone in the networking and communities you're going to. You're leaving for RoofCon this week.
Yeah, I've never been to RoofCon. I'm really trying to get into just some different circles. The circles that we've been in for the last 5 to 6 years are great. They're great people, but I want to learn different things, and what can I learn from other people? Because we've been kind of in the same circle for 5, 6 years, but I'm trying to get in the same room with more people that are acquiring companies. And what does that look like? Because, I always say that I don't ever want to reinvent the wheel.
No,
It's not who I am.
no.
There's already somebody that has done it and done it well. I just want to kind of see what you've done, that it's worked well from you, learn from your mistakes, and just repeat it.
Yeah.
Just how can all these people help us along the way? And I really think that that's what we're here as people on earth. To be good stewards. It's to just help each other grow.
Yeah. Learn and grow. Life
And
is for
and
learning.
maybe and maybe my downfall is, like, I think I would probably even help my closest competitor if he asked me, just because, like, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, and to me, there's no competitors. The only,
Yes.
the only competitors
Collaborators. That's
is
it.
ourselves.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
All right.
That's it. So
Any last nuggets you want to leave, Caitlin, or anything we want to hear from Jason?
No, I think we went through the majority of it, which is amazing. And we'll have Jason back to talk more about acquisition and killing it with business too, which I'm super stoked about.
All right. Well, thank you, Jason. I appreciate your energy. Love that you're in our life as a client, as a friend. And how does it get better?
it always
It just
does.
does. It just
It always
does.
does.
All right, buddy. Have an amazing week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life, and always remind you to enjoy the ride.